Hey, Coach, it's Joe Salas here. Got a special treat, and I'm super excited. I've been geeked up all day about this one. I've got Matt Lasker from Northern California. Matt is about 40 minutes away from San Francisco, and his program actually feeds into De La Salle. And he runs. They do the football through like a rec department, but it's seventh and eighth graders. He's coaching middle school football players, and he is running straight air raid, and he does a great job with it. I told Matt before we started. I told you, I'm not messing with you, man. I think you're one of the key guys, the key air raid guys in the country right now. Because for the majority of us, some big dog places, they can force the middle school to just run whatever they want them to. But most places, we have to convince the middle school to run our system. And when you're an air raid guy, the middle school guys, a lot of times they want to, but they just don't feel confident doing it. And here you are. I can't wait to show your stuff to my middle school coach. And I know there's a lot of air raid guys that feel the same way. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. I appreciate the kind words. I think you might be a little overstating my value, but honestly, I got into this wanting to learn how to spread the ball around. As you mentioned, we feed De La Salle, which is a traditional split back veer offense, as everyone pretty much knows. The offensive coordinator for this eighth grade level the last 10 years was a De La Salle Hall of Fame lineman. They're running the split back veer with success. So, it's not like that was not working, but I see the talent that we have here in our organization. I saw the kids playing 7-on-7 and flag and just spinning the ball, throwing it around. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to take over this eighth grade team and just pound the ball with one or two positions. I don't want to do that. I want all these kids to thrive. So I started looking into to the air raid and spread football. I found you, Coach Salas, found Coach Ron Mackey, Patrick Taylor, a bunch of guys, and just immersed myself in it. And yeah, we've had a great time running it. The kids absolutely love playing this style of ball because, like I said, it's just like 7-on-7 that they love doing. The coaches love coaching this style of ball. The hardest thing is trying to convince some of these guys that grew up in these traditional running systems like you and I did. I was a wing tee back in the day. And I love the wing tee, but it's more about, like we kind of talked about before, it just feeling confident in running it. If you never ran it yourself, where do I get that knowledge? And so I got that knowledge from watching videos of yours and those other guys I mentioned. And we went out and put it to practice. And not only, obviously, the plays are one thing, but I think the real secret is teaching the practice schedules and the everyday drills that the air raid does. I think that's where the secret sauce is. And we made it in a way where it's very similar to what you guys do at the high school level and above. We tweaked a few little things for the middle school level to make it a little bit more consumable for them. But for the most part, I'd say it's 90% air raid of what you guys do.
I was watching your YouTube channel, and give us a tag on your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Please go check out Coach Lasker, Lasker, Coach Lasker on YouTube. And we have a whole series on there for coaches to consume, but we also did cut-ups where.
So I saw your cut-ups, and I found you early. I don't know how I found you, but I found you early, and you got a 4 Verts video on there that is so good that I can't wait when we finally get off this thing. I'm going to show my high school kids your middle school film running 4 Verts. That's how good you do it. So you're not just messing around with it. You're running air raid at a high level. And we're going to talk about all the things you got going on with your round table and your course coming up. But can you go ahead and teach us, just like you're teaching your kids, can you teach us the 4 Verts?
Absolutely. I'm going to grab control of this ball, right?
Yep.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, sir. All righty. So let me just, let me share a different way. Apologies. Let me just get right here. All right, beautiful. So the first thing that we do when we implement our entire offense is actually go into all Verts and teach it from all Verts first, because it's the basis for our entire offense. And I'll get into that and how we run our quick game. And just real quick, we'll get into the film in 2 seconds. I'd just like to show briefly what it looks like on paper, because just so people can visualize it. So just like any other air raid team, we spread the ball around. Actually, I got all this information that I've kind of based our offense on from Coach Patrick Taylor. I'm sure you know him, but if you guys out there on the channel, I've never heard of him, please look him up. But since we in the middle school level see single high safety cover 3 for the most part, we based it off of how he handles that. And basically, when we come up to the line of scrimmage, we want our quarterbacks asking themselves a very specific question and our receivers asking themselves a very specific question. So the quarterback is asking himself, hey, who is open right now? And this is all pre-snap. Coach Taylor calls it the slow process. Whatever you want to say, pre-snap reads. We're going to look, and the quarterback's looking, hey, who's open right now? And by the way, the definition for that is if the defender that is covering that receiver is 7 yards or deeper out, then that receiver is technically open by definition. If he is 7 yards or closer, then he's covered up, and the open grass is behind. So we want our quarterbacks asking themselves who is open now, and the receivers asking themselves, when am I open? Okay. So in this scenario, the way the defense is set up, since this cornerback is 8 to 9 yards off, L is open right now. Okay. So he knows without even talking to the quarterback, without even signaling, just because of the way we practice and rep this every single day, that he's going to run a 3-step stick. Okay. And expect the ball. F right now, since this guy's 5 yards, he's going to try to get to the open grass behind, but stay in his tube. Okay. We want these guys to have their different quadrants on the field. T is going to do an angle and kind of settle in between. He's going to check and then do an angle. Sometimes we have him swing. That's something that, some coaches do a little different. So kind of up to you. In this scenario, Y is open right now. So he's going to do a 3-step stick. And then the R, the open grass, is back here. So he's going to outside release and restack and get back on the number. So by the way, all these guys, if they're not open right now and they are going deep, they need to outside release and try to get these corners to turn their back to the quarterback, okay? So that's basically what it looks like. Now, if we get to the point where they get sick of giving us all these free yards and everyone's kind of covered up, then one little difference that we do for the middle school is we try to highlight these slot receivers inside, okay? So F is typically like our fast little hybrid guy. He comes back in the backfield in our 2 backs, so he's kind of like a tailback that can play slot. And then Y could either be a hand in the dirt tight end or it could be a slot receiver, depending on how you want to handle your personnel. But anyway, so let's just say all these receivers are up now within 7 yards. Now the quarterback knows, okay, so everyone's going deep to the trying to get beyond these defenders, and now his read is F to Y to T, okay? And the way he decides is he's looking to throw to F every single time, okay? That is what his job is. If this safety goes straight back or to his left at all, he's just going to throw it right to the F, right into this window right here, okay? Nice and easy throw. It's not a 30-yard bomb. These middle school kids can throw 10, 15 yards, no problem, okay? If he, for some reason, goes with F, like we've seen it a few times after we hit this a few times, then he's simply just going to throw the same shot to Y, okay? In middle school, that's typically how it happens. It's happening real quick, so it's either one or the other. Now, if for whatever reason they rotate properly, then we're going to look for T, who is checking, getting over the middle and trying to get in the quarterback's vision here, okay? But typically, honestly, we ran this play so many times last year, and that didn't actually happen once. It was either F or Y, and we were off, or he took it and ran himself, okay? So real quick in our 3x1, and we'll get to the film, it's the same thing, okay? So we're coming up the line looking for easy money. We're taking it until they make a stop. And I want to stress that, guys, especially at this youth level, middle school level. Guys, if they want to give you free yards, and I think this is the hardest thing that I've had to get into coaches' minds, like, don't feel bad about it. Don't feel like you're doing anything against the game of football. Take all these free yards if they're going to give them to you. So if this cornerback just refuses to come down and the coach just refuses to move him, continue to just take this 3-yard stick all day, okay? All day. So let's just say they've moved up. It's the same game, okay? So we're still trying to put this safety in conflict. He's going to be the target of all of our all verts, okay? So F, we're going to bend this F in front of him and take this middle quadrant here, and we're going to bend this Y behind the safety. So again, if he goes back or to his left with the Y, we're going to hit the F, and if he goes with the F, we're going to hit the Y, okay? Now, you guys might be saying, what about my L and R? That's one of the differences here. We call R X. And L, he stays on the left side all the time. He doesn't move. He learns all his routes. He's an expert at that position. And the R is the same for the right side. Why aren't these guys getting any love? Well, the truth is that they are always available pre-snap for a throw, and they get a lot of throws out there. Our L had 450 yards receiving this year and almost 30 catches, and our R had just under 350 catching. But we really want to have these guys talking with our receiver coaches or yourself, whoever the offensive coaches are, because we need to know, right? If these guys are being lazy, if they're not turning and running, if we need to understand what's going on here so we can take shots whenever we get a chance on all verts on the outside. But for the most part, it's kind of a three-man game, okay?
Well, I can tell why you got so good at it is because you teach it really well. You got this from Patrick?
Yeah, exactly. So Patrick Taylor, he's one of the first videos I found when I first started researching with him and Mackie. And Patrick Taylor did like just an hour long on all verts.
Yeah,
and this
when I see Patrick teach it, it just makes me feel dumb. When you taught it, it made me feel like I knew what I was doing. So that you teach it really well is one reason why you're so good at it.
Well, I appreciate it, but we know we don't really have to deal with two high safeties in our world, so it's much easier to just teach one segment of it. But I appreciate it. Okay, so cool. Can you see the film? Is it up?
Yes, looks good.
Okay, awesome. All right, good. So here we go.
Kind of as people make good plays, tell what grade they're in if you can. How about that?
Well, these are all 8th graders. That last year's team was an 8th grade team.
Okay.
I chose to go down to 7th grade this coming season because I'm on a mission to prove how low we can take this thing. Yeah, so here we go. This is the 8th grade U14U NorCal title champion team, okay? And so we come up to the line and we're saying to ourselves, who's open right now, okay? So this guy is open. That's 9 yards. So he's going to break this off. Three-step stick, okay? This guy needs the outside release and restack and go, right? Because he is within 7 yards. Again, same thing. That's 7 yards. So outside release, restack. And then on these marginal ones, we leave it up to them. But we tend to tell them if there's a question, just run that stick, okay? Because these kids are typically bailing. And in youth, it's not usually your best players out here on the edges. It's usually like D ends and linebackers, right? So there's some advantage. Okay, so anyway, so who's open now? And it's really, guys, it really is that simple where it's just a catch and a pitch. And we've done what we wanted to do, get our athletes in space with the ball one-on-one, okay? These are all of our athletes, okay? So who is open right now? This guy's within 7, so he's outside release, trying to restack. This guy is open right now, right? Okay, so he's open. He needs to get over the top, and he needs to get over the top. Quarterback looks left and hits this quick hitter. Now, he does push it a little bit farther than we would have tended to like. But as you can see, as he presses up on that, I don't know if that's a linebacker or safety, but as he presses up on that safety, the kid bails out. So he cuts it off. And if you coach this right every day like we do, they get really comfortable with the fact that, okay, I can't get to that open grass behind, I'm capped. Let me break this off. And these players have been together, for years. So they've gotten to know each other. So it was just kind of a perfect storm for this year. Okay. All right, great. Here is a first round of the playoffs. Who's open now? He's definitely open, so he's breaking it off. This is out of early, a 3-by-1 to the right. He needs to get over the top and restack. He needs to get over the top and restack. He's probably going to break this off for a 3-step stick. Okay, so who is open right now? I mean, guys, we're not even this. I don't even know if you can call this a play. This is just playground. Throw me the ball, 3 yards. Get your kids in open space and let them go to work. Okay, that's our L, who like I said, I had 450 yards receiving, and I mean, he's a great athlete. But like this kid is an amazing athlete. This kid is an amazing athlete. This kid's an amazing. This L is probably our fifth best athlete, and he had 450 yards receiving just by getting put into the situation. Okay. All right, here. So here we get to a point where now everyone's within 7 yards, right? So I wanted to show this. This guy's marginal, but when we get to this situation and they actually went 4-4, they adjusted. This is when we start reading the safety, right? So again, if he takes a step back or to his left, we're just gonna hit F, and that's where we're looking. That's what we want to do. F is one of our best players, so that's our goal. Now, if he goes over there, we're gonna hit this Y. But as you can see, we don't need to do that. And this is, by the way, this is the first game of the season. Play 23 in the season. Okay, so like it just goes to show, and I'm not saying that to do anything like bragging. What I love about this offense is that the way that the practices are set up and the way that all these air raid teams like just systematically go to practice and very intentional and get so many reps, guys. It's all about reps, and that was the first game of the season, and we hit big on all reps. Okay, so who's open now? Again, they're all pressed up for the most part. Pressed is the wrong word, but they're within 5 yards. So now we're gonna go F to Y to the 2. Now look at the quarterback's head. He does look at F, but you can't see the safety here. But I'm pretty sure he makes his read off the safety here. So he looks left, sees the safety over there, pops it to Y, and we were lucky. We had a Y. That guy's a monster. He's a D end and a tight end for youth football, all-star both ways, and he could play in the little slot out in the Y, okay? I won't take up too much more time. I love this play just because it shows how these guys are looking for open grass, and it just kind of all goes within the concept of these kids. Hey, go find open grass. The quarterback, look for open grass. Throw your hands up and catch a touchdown. I mean, it can't get more simple than that. It's just like playing when you're in junior high when you were a kid, right? Like, that's why I love this play. And then we started seeing a couple.
You're making a lot of high school coaches real happy right now, man. Showing that this thing can happen at this level in middle school. I mean, you guys look good, and you're making it simple.
And honestly, we scored, 13 or 14 touchdowns on Alford. And for some reason, we started getting looks where they started bringing safeties down to cover these kids one-on-one. And it was just, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. I honestly feel like I'm playing football in the 80s before defenses, like, learned how to play, like, cover the pass, honestly, because they just don't adjust. And, say what you want. It's middle school. It's not that big of a deal. But I take it serious. I'm here for a couple more years. I want to help other youth coaches do things like this. I honestly believe that a lot of youth players aren't playing football because a lot of them are basketball player types, or a lot of them are tall and lanky, or different types of body styles. And they're not all like me, short and squatty and a running back, right? So a lot of youth teams, they go play, and these kids aren't touching the ball. They can be helping out. So I really feel like if we can spread the ball out using air raid at the middle school level, it'll bring participation numbers back. It'll bring more kids back to youth football, and then in turn help the pipeline for high school, right?
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Go ahead and unshare your screen, and let's talk about all that. You got so much going on, and I got a feeling after this thing hits, it's going to get a lot busier for you.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, I'll just put it on the screen while we talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So Air Raid Warden, it's just a website that houses all these videos. We made a what we call flight school. Just wanted to come up with a cute term, but it's flight school. It's an 11-part series for youth coaches, middle school coaches, from A to Z. Everything from the first thing, like philosophy of the air raid, how we do what we do, to the play menu. We kind of talked about that before. There's a lot of plays to choose from, but the whole point is to get really good at a handful of them and just execute and beat people by execution. So you really need to focus in. And then we take it all the way to install practices. I got my 3-day install from you, Joe, coach, and then practice plans. I think that's where a lot of youth coaches just get a little worried because they don't know how to practice this. They don't know how to fit everything in. And we give them examples of all that in this airraidwarden.com webinar series.
All right. So you got your airraidwarden.com You got your well, here it is down at the bottom. You got your Coach Lasker YouTube video. Everyone needs to go there and subscribe to that. What are you do? You're doing your round tables, or you want to just talk and me be quiet? Go ahead, just tell us about all of it.
No, I appreciate it, Coach. I honestly, I've just learned so much from watching your videos. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is on the round table. It's so cool. We just had our first one last week, and it's like literally a bunch of middle school specifically coaches from around the nation, just talking ball. A couple of them are wing tee guys. They brought some cool stuff to the table. Most of them are air raid guys that I found along with my journey. But it's just we just want to make youth football and middle school football as good as it possibly can. Again, to help with the members, and so please come to that, guys. That's awesome.
I went to that last week. I didn't realize that was the first one, but it wasn't a huge group, but man, that was an impressive group you had in there, and they were from everywhere. What you had? Mississippi, North Carolina, Ohio.
Yeah, all over Pennsylvania.
I mean, they were all over the place, and they were good. I mean, they were impressive coaches.
Yeah, and they tend to find you on these channels with YouTube and Twitter. By the way, is like such a great value. I never really used Twitter before I started doing this coaching thing, and it's actually pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, if you guys, the biggest message I want to say to you guys is yes, if you're a middle school coach and you're curious, this will teach you how to do everything. But also, if you're a high school coach and you want to have your middle school teams running this before they get to you, so they get to know the terminology, they start to understand open grass and the receivers running these speed outs instead of a square out, and understanding how all verts work and all those things. This will be a way where you guys can confidently, and I'm air raid certified, by the way. I'm not just some guy that's trying to do this out of nowhere. It'll be a way for you can just say, hey, here's a good place to start researching and point them in the right direction, and then hopefully that'll entice them to run it at their youth organization.
Absolutely. I think that's the magic. That's why I think you're so important, is because now we have a place to not only just pull up and show the cut-ups of a middle school team running it, but you actually put the resources together. So it's you got the YouTube, you got the bi-weekly roundtable. And then the course is at Raid Warden. Have we talked about that yet?
Yeah, so the course is at Raid Warden. It's also on the YouTube channel. I created Raid Warden, so there was a place where we could like post. You can't post like my 3-day install schedule on YouTube. So it's on all the videos are on both, but Raid Warden is probably the best place to go because we put the documents on there. Other coaches are going to upload their playbooks so they can share with each other as well. So it's probably a better place just holistically to get everything you need to install the air raid at this middle school level.
And I'm going to sound like George here. I'm going to say he could easily charge $150 for this course, and he's doing it for free. There's no charge on the course. He's doing all this just because he loves the game, he loves the offense, and he wants to get more kids playing football, get the numbers up in football. And man, I mean, you are. I'm telling you, you're going to be busy the next couple months, because everyone is going to be coming to you, because we finally have someone to point to now, and to kind of motivate the middle school guys to run this thing. And when you're running at that high level, man, I was watching you teach 4 verts. I'm going to steal some of your terminology, the way you do it. You just made it so easy.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I just love it. And like you said, we're not charging. I just literally want, before I'm done with youth football, and I go to high school and try to hopefully compete against you one day, I want to make sure, like you said, man, that these numbers are strong. Our game does not go anywhere. And I do believe the pipeline starts with the little guys, and they love this, man. They love playing spread football. They do it. Every other form of football they play is this, right? And why does it have to be different if we just put pads on? It doesn't have to be. We can do it. They can do it. They deserve to do it. My biggest pushback always is like, oh, they can't do this for a game, let alone a whole season. They can't throw and catch like that. And I'm like, just trust me, they can. And if you just let them, if you know how to teach it, then they can do it. I promise.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. All right, so let me plug you one more time. Coach Lasker YouTube video. You got the Youth Football Air Raid Facebook page. I post stuff on there all the time. Your
Yes,
Twitter, go ahead. Is it at Matt Lasker? I see
exactly. Yep. Just
that,
at Matt
okay.
Lasker.
/ Matt Lasker. Okay. And then the bi-weekly, they can get to that through the Twitter page, right? The bi-weekly roundtable.
It's actually on the airraidwarden.com.
Okay, on the Facebook page. No, on the
on the Facebook page too. Yeah, you're right. You
okay.
see it on I posted on the Facebook page and on airraidwarden.com.
It ends up being a Zoom, but you're giving them the link on those 2 platforms.
Exactly. So it's a Zoom meeting. And like you said last time, we actually went around in a circle and just talked ball. It was pretty cool.
It was fantastic, and you had some good coaches in there. I mean, I was super impressed. The guy from Ohio, heck, if he would have had, he was drawing up a play. If he would have had film on it, I told him I'd put him on the channel and let him teach it on the channel because it was so good. They didn't his group didn't film middle school. But Matt, man, I'm super excited to have you on here, and man, you did a great job. And I'm telling you right now, I think you are the key guy in the whole country. The next wave of air raid explosion is going to come because we got a whole bunch of middle school coaches that are going to be finding you and your resources, man. And I appreciate you being on, and I appreciate what you're doing, buddy.
Yeah, right on. Thanks for the kind words, and thanks for all you've done. Again, I wouldn't have even tried this if I didn't see your channel to begin with. So thank you for all you do, Joe. I know you're out there helping coaches and all the things that you do with the community and your culture, the videos you put out on culture, man. I just love that stuff. So thank you and keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate the love on your channel, man.
Well, I appreciate it, buddy. You know, we all steal it from somebody. I stole it from Hal, and we all steal it from somebody. All right, yes, I'm gonna sign it off. Make sure share this video with everyone. Make sure your middle school coaches see this video and find these resources. Thank you, man.